Hey there, folks. Michael with the Reason RX podcast. Hope you're doing well. Today, the aspect of our whole human nature that we want to focus on is fitness. Important in being a whole, entire, complete human. Important in education and thinking and cognition and memory and creativity. As more and more people are finding out, again, rediscovering, as probably people used to know a long time ago, but some people having to rediscover it because of sedentary behavior and all this stuff. But as is brought up in, for example, the book Spark by John Rady, the new science of exercise and how it influences the brain and mind. And now some schools are putting that into practice to see how, instead of having kids sit down a bunch to study all the time, thinking how that helps, as if it's linear and as if we're linear systems, we're not recognizing that exercise influences attitude and cognition, and more fundamentally, recognizing the fact that we are feedback, we're dynamic feedback biological systems. Some people are finally starting to get exercise back into things. More recess for elementary kids again, which people used to know to do, and that's having to be rediscovered. But we want to get in that to be more creative, better cognition, better attitude, live longer, be more competent, have more confidence. It all interacts. Some science helps us understand fitness better. Being more fit helps us do science better and be a better human. So we're getting into that a little bit today. So joining us today are some physical therapists with years of expertise, and they are also practitioners of the great art of MovNat. I think we're all level like 2.5 or 2.7. We're all working on achieving level 3 in MovNat, the highest level that MovNat has. We're all within like grasping distance of it. But could y'all introduce yourselves, please? Got Nick and we got Phil here with us. So Dr. Phil Lombardo and Nick Burroughs. Phil, go ahead. Go first. Would you like introduce yourself, tell folks your background, etc.?
Yeah, Michael, thanks so much for having me. I am a doctor of physical therapy for the past just about 20 years. I am a board-certified sports clinical specialist. I am a MovNat Level II certified instructor, and I also recently took on the role this year of being the director of the MovNat Medical curriculum, the new course that's going to be launched in March of 2022. And I'm also the vice president of the New Jersey Centers of Physical Therapy, where I've been practicing for the past 18 out of the 20 years I've been practicing.
Sweet. Nice long career helping people. Good.
Yeah.
Nick, would you introduce yourselves, please? Or did I say selves? Mike. Introduce yourself. Did I say introduce yourselves or introduce yourself? Hopefully you don't have multi-personalities. Okay. Introduce yourself, please.
Well, I'll introduce my one personality that I know.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. My name is Nick Burroughs. I live in Virginia. I've been a physical therapist since 2001. I've actually run the gamut of all of the different areas within physical therapy practice, recently coming back to the outpatient orthopedic model. So I have a plethora of experience across all aspects of it. I am a MovNat Level II certified trainer, background in a bunch of different sports, CrossFit, et cetera, but my passion is to bring the benefits of natural movement to the rehab world to better enable people to live a longer, less disabled life.
Cool. Nice. Thank you. And so, Phil, what's some of your background in growing up and camping, being outdoors, playing sports, health and fitness, injuries, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I would say that I took about a 180-degree turn about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I grew up, I was a 3-sport varsity athlete. I ran track in college. And but to be honest with you, I could barely do a pull-up and I couldn't touch my toes. So for me, that's like the quintessential track with a lot of the kids nowadays where we're working on skill. I was pretty good at everything I did. I mean, I could jump onto like a weekend volleyball team, or I could, run pickup basketball, no problem. All those things, I had great skill, but literally my physical fitness or my movement capacity and skill was just poor, to say the least. I was very afraid of the outdoors, to be honest with you. I didn't like the cold. I didn't like bugs. I didn't like rain. Like you name it, I was averse to it. And yeah. But again, as I grew and I don't know, maybe matured and wised up a little bit, I started to get a little bit more of a connection to the outdoors and realized how much I really enjoyed it personally, just, emotionally being outside, being away from everything else. I think a lot of people have that same story, where you find a peacefulness and a calm, no matter what you're doing, if you're hiking, if you're just hanging out with friends, or if you're at a park. And so I brought that to my family, and I've since then gotten into, certainly some longer distance hiking. I just did the Presidential Traverse this last year, which I just absolutely blew my mind. And it was a challenge physically that I would have never in my wildest dream as a teenager thought that I would ever do. Even maybe 5 to 10 years ago, I would have never thought I could do it. So having this diversity of training through MovNat, which again, I discovered probably maybe only 6 or 7 years ago, but jumped in really 2 feet, 100%, has turned me around in my mindset as far as what I'm capable of and what I'm comfortable with and what I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable with as well. So it kind of really opened my mind to the physical capability of it, but also the emotional and mental capability as well that goes along with that. And that's something that's really stood out with this practice of movement that has a lot to do with our emotions and our cognition as well. So I've really enjoyed that aspect. And again, it's really changed my life I've done everything from, straight strength training, Olympic lifting. I did a little CrossFit for about 2 years. I've done yoga for 6 months, and now I just love going out and getting on my paddleboard and going out into the water. So, like I said, a little bit of a 180 from growing up, but still feeling like also I have more that I could explore and more that I could go and find out.
Yeah, cool. What's this Presidential Traverse thing?
Presidential Traverse is 11 mountains in New Hampshire that cover a total of about 23 miles. Each mountain is named after one of the presidents, and it covers, I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 feet of elevation over that time. So it took us a good 12, 13 hours to do it. But it was there was definitely about 3 times where I said, I should not be doing this. This is a terrible idea. And, but how the story goes. Then you finish and you're like, I'm going back next year. Like, I could have done it faster. Like, I got this. So yeah, it's just an awesome experience. New Hampshire has been a great find for me. I found it about 2 years ago, and I want to go back every summer. I highly recommend it.
And you say it's in New Hampshire? We got that right?
Yeah.
And is it like hiking or running?
Yeah, it's you can run it. I think 2 weeks before I went, the female fastest known time just broke it, and she did it in like 4 hours or something like that.
Wow.
So again, I did it in 13. I wasn't even close. So you could run it. God bless you if you do.
Yeah.
And there's so much mileage along the way that you could easily turn it into like a 3 to 5 day trip. There's huts that you could stay at that the AMC organizes, so you could really make a 3 to 5 day trip out of it. You could do it. Some people like the challenge of doing it all in one day, but the views are just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely the best views I've ever seen. Yeah.
That shows you, like, the fact that I had to ask if you were hiking or running shows you I'm kind of tired right now. Had to take my contacts out, put my glasses on. I'm kind of brain dead. I didn't stop to figure that out myself, which was easy enough to do. But yeah, but because 23 miles like less than a marathon, compare times and all that. But yeah, hopefully I won't be too stupid tonight. But what about you, Nick? What's some of your background in outdoors and sports and injuries and all that?
Well, I was a high school football star and track runner.
Sweet.
Yeah, and my senior year in high school, I blew my ACL.
Damn.
I was being recruited by some schools, and it, had a terrible triad: ACL, MCL, meaning meniscus tear, and underwent a pretty hard surgery. I had a very difficult time recovering from it, and did my own 8 months of therapy. Back in the days when you could do 8 months of physical therapy before the insurance companies got all crazy. But and then in doing that, I discovered my love how exercise could be used as a medicine for people's bodies, and that's what led me to go to undergrad and study to become a physical therapist. So it's kind of like one door shut, one door open type of situation.
Yeah.
And then I went to PT school, graduated 2001 from Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. And, my sporting career was basically had stopped at that time, and got back into, did the whole lifting weights thing and in college, and, growing up outdoors, did a lot of hiking, a lot of camping, but I would say that I was pretty removed from the outdoors for a while. Developed a lot of bad habits in college that kept stuck with me for a while. Quit exercising. Even though as a PT, I would go to work and just come home and open a bottle of wine or something like that. And that happened for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And then when I was 32 years old, probably 2010, I ballooned up to 220 pounds. I think I've documented this on the MovNat website.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it. Yeah, good. Cool.
Yeah, I sent a story in, I think it was last year, but I had realized that I had reached a point where I couldn't quit living. I had to stop living the way I was. So I made some serious changes in my life. We had to quit all my toxic intake of certain chemicals and started exercising again, and took some time, but I got back into working out, and discovered a CrossFit gym locally. Got back and started doing some CrossFit, and started running outside more and more, started hiking again, and really rediscovered my love for exercise and how much I missed how it made me feel. So did that for a while, and I honestly got burnt out on CrossFit. I just got sick and tired of killing myself in the gym. I ended up stopping that in 2018. I had lost a lot of weight, gotten stronger, and feeling better, and got having all the toxic elements of my life out. My body had healed itself. And then in 2019, I heard a podcast with Erwan LaCour on the Paleo Magazine radio, and I was like, what is this natural movement stuff? Never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Never even heard of it, and I was like, who's this cool-sounding French guy? So it really perked my interest, and I got online, and I saw his video, the Workout the World Forgot, and I was blown away by what this guy can do.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made me think of, man, this guy in his training is able to do this stuff. And I had been training CrossFit and, lifting weights and running. And I looked at what he was doing, and I told myself, there's no way I can do any of that. Yeah. Even though I was in better shape and I was stronger, the stuff he was doing, I just kept thinking, I can't do that. How can he do this? What has he done? I looked at him like a Tarzan type figure, and it just blew my mind. So I immediately bought his book. It was being released, I think that month. And I read it, just 500 some pages. I read it in 2 weeks. I just devoured it. I couldn't get enough. And then I immediately started my practice, rediscovered my love for the outdoors, started training outdoors, going to parks, and just really taking it all in, noticing a change in my demeanor and my physical structure. I lost even more weight, felt better. I mean, all the things I had done to destroy my body in my 20s, my early 30s, I felt like I had actually started to heal it then. So it was almost a recuperative, reparative type process for me. And that's where it's led me to today. I fell in love with the system. I fell in love with what natural movement can do for an individual if it practiced properly. And I dedicated myself to it. And that's why I started in the certification process and added it to my PT practice. And now I guess you can say I'm an ambassador for it.
Cool. Yeah.
So
nice.
That's where we are now. Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, same. It's helped me out a lot too, that MovNat stuff.
And now I'm at 170. I was, 10 years ago, I was about 220. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. So what do y'all think about the current state of Americans' fitness and health and the fitness culture and all that?
That was a good one, Mike. Yeah, this is a good one. I was actually
for a while.
yeah. That's I'm going to try to figure out the best way to focus it down, and
we can pick it up again in some future podcasts, and so we can pick a few elements to discuss right now or whatever. Save some thoughts for later.
Well, there's two things that I boil it down to. The number one is people actually coming to terms with what they're actually trying to accomplish. I really feel like, whatever is put out in front of you and that is told is the best or the easiest or is good for you. Let's take going to the gym and lifting weights. There's no doubt in my mind that is good for you. That is 100% a good idea. If you're doing nothing, go to the gym, lift some weights. You will live longer. You will be healthier. But have you really answered the question of what your actual goal is? Again, you and I were talking, the three of us were talking about this earlier, is the goal to be able to carry your groceries into the house, to be able to lift up your grandchildren, to be able to get up and down off the floor, to be 70 or 80 and not fall and bust your hip. We're not thinking about that when we're 25, 30, 35, 40, absolutely. But, maybe we should be putting some consideration into that. Even if you're, no matter what it is, again, if it's going to the gym and lifting weights, if it's that you're a ultra marathon runner, or you just do local 5Ks and, you do them every other weekend and, you just love to run because it's very cathartic and meditative. Absolutely. That's wonderful. But again, I urge you to ask yourself the question. I think that this is the biggest thing that's missing in the current state of fitness and medical practice as well, is what are you actually doing and what's your actual goal? If your goal is to be a more capable human being or to really maximize your health, well, I got to be honest with you, that's not the way to do it. That's a component of it. It's just like eating healthy. I know that avocados are good for me, and I know that blueberries are good for me, but if I ate those two foods for the rest of my life, that would not be good. We know that for a fact. So that's my one point that I make is asking yourself and being honest with yourself. What am I trying to get a little bit more healthy than I am right now, or am I trying to really maximize my life as a human being? And it was just not as complicated. When I say it, it might sound like a big, deep, complex question, like, oh God, I don't have time for that. But it really isn't that hard. And the MovNat system proves that through e-courses, certifications, classes in your local neighborhood. It's very, very easy to integrate it into your life, into your home, your backyard, wherever it might be that you do it. So that's number one.
Besides which, you don't have to learn how to use a compass or read the stars, but if you don't, you're going to be lost. That's a guarantee.
Exactly, man.
In a proper situation, I'm not saying when we have GPS or in this modern society, I'm saying take a place where we don't have GPS and you're out somewhere. If you don't know how to read a compass and how to navigate, you're going to be lost. You must learn the skills of navigation. Likewise, you must think about your goals, otherwise you're lost. And you're not achieving what you want, you're not living, it's a failure, ultimately. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
What?
I think of it. Yeah, I think of it from the standpoint of mindfulness and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you living an awakened life, or are you going through the motions because your neighbor, you know, are you just following are you able to follow the stars and follow the compass, or are you just following your neighbor because he's walking in that direction? So you're saying, okay, well, I don't know where to go, so I'm going to follow him, you know, and he goes to the gym, so I'm going to go to the gym, you know, or wherever it might be. But that might not bring you to where you want to be and to hitting your goals. So,
and then the other person. So start a different direction and get a group going that way. So you still got the group cohesion. You're doing the group thing as humans naturally do, but you're doing it right. That's a function of reason, having our conceptual aspect connected to reality instead of detached from it. We need reason. We need logic to get the social stuff done right and to be real ourselves and many other reasons. But one big important thing logic does is help us direct the social aspect of our nature and the group cohesion stuff we naturally want to do to be good for life and not antithetical to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But
yeah, there's so many components of the decisions that we make. Again, our upbringing, the social environment around us, you know, our emotional and mental capacity at the time. You know, I don't have time to learn anything right now. Okay, that's true. Good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to tell everybody that they need to reinvent the wheel or they need to learn this entire new system. No. You know, these emotional components and the mental components are very, very real, and I don't want to dismiss them and just roll over them and say, like, you know, obviously simple answers are a good place to start. But then again, like I said, taking it to the next level and thinking about what you truly want to accomplish, you know, put a little, you know, a little extra time into the planning aspect of it will, you know, infinitely improve your outcome as opposed to not planning and just jumping right in.
Even plan vacations. If you can plan a vacation, you can plan some fitness.
Oh man, don't even. I mean, yeah, we could get into the ideas of time management and, you know, I don't have time, and you know, that's one of my favorite quotes. Whenever somebody says, I don't have time for that, and especially my wife, I have to put a lot of effort into not saying you have time for nothing. You know, I always want to say that, and I know that it never helps the conversation, but in my head, just know that that's constantly going. Whenever someone says, I don't have time, I say, you have time for nothing in my head. And you're absolutely right. It's whatever we choose to devote our time to is what we have time for. And again, I get it, you know, relationships, family, work, all that stuff is there. So it's a tough thing to carve out a little extra time, you know, beyond just going to the gym. And it doesn't have to be that you're getting a certification in any kind of fitness, but just, you know, doing a little research or thinking about, is this helping me? Is this achieving my goal? You know, searching out for professionals that do have a like-minded concept. You know, again, I can't tell you how many people have had that same story that Nick just told you about, wow, I saw that guy doing that, and, you know, the workout the world forgot, and I wanted to do that. Then I got out in the world, and I started enjoying exercise again.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, if that doesn't inspire you, like, I don't know what else it will. And you know, the thought that you can enjoy the exercise is very, very foreign right now.
Yeah.
So, in addition to that, Phil, so my experience was that once I started practicing it and realizing that I could do these tasks, these functions, I became more capable of certain things. It made it fun. Like, oh my gosh, I can balance on this rail here. I can bounce on this park bench. I can jump over this little trash can, and it just made living more fun. Realizing that you could do those things, and it made you want to do it more and more. You know, it brought me back to being a teenager or a kid when I played outside and just did stuff like that. That's one thing that I got inspired by again, just discovering the love of being human and moving properly.
Being competent.
And with other, this goes back to the state of fitness. The other fitness systems, they don't teach that stuff. It's more about reps and how hard you can breathe and how hard you can sweat. It's not about teaching your body how to be capable. I mean, some of it might be, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one good thing about MovNat or some fitness systems to some other extent. MovNat more completely, because it's the fundamentals of all human movement, whereas some other systems are good, and I'd recommend them only if you're doing them as one thing at like a week. Like yoga is a thing on its own, no, but doing it, yes, 100%, but then you still need to go in and do some weightlifting. Weightlifting on its own, no. Weightlifting with yoga and some running and stuff, yes. Or if you want to focus on one thing, still do the other stuff to be a complete human mover. But yeah, a lot of the stuff people have to measure themselves by is what? Just numbers or times. I got more weight.
Yeah.
I got a faster time. Whereas, in MovNat, there's so much more you could do. It's not really poundage, but okay, you can balance up higher. You can take more steps. You can change the surface. You can jump further. You can jump up or down. You can jump to all these different surfaces. And all this groundwork, and there's just so many more dimensions that you can measure and achieve in instead of just going from 100 pounds to 110 pounds or whatever.
Amen to that, 100%. Nick, what you were saying about the exploring and the learning of new things that we've lost from our childhood, it still amazes me that you could do that with a structured program. I mean, MovNat is not just go out in the woods and jump around. There's a lot of education. I think that's a common misconception, right? There's a lot of structure. There's a lot of programming to it.
Doing it right.
Clark developed the whole program to it, the program aspect of it, and it's just been phenomenal.
There's no way I could go out and do a swing up on a tree limb if I didn't start at the basics, which I did. And I remember the first time trying to do a swing up on a pull-up bar, and I was like, I better get this down. I need to really focus on this movement. But once you get it down, you can apply it in more complex environments like nature, and then you realize this is fun, man. I can show people how to get on top of this tree limb. It's no big deal.
How many people have you ever known to say, like, man, I really want to get those bicep curls. Like, I can't get these bicep curls down, and I'm going to work at it to get my bicep curls, right? Like, it's not fun and exciting. Maybe the outcome of having big biceps is fun and exciting, but again, this is that learning, that exploring, and I think that this is another thing that's really missing in fitness and in medicine as well. And so to be able to bring that back at 43, like for me personally and for my patients, and we were talking about that before, Nick, like the same thing. No one's ever been excited to do TheraBand exercises, but when they accomplish, it's just, let's just put that out there, be honest about it. But I've had a patient when she does a tripod vault for hip mobility and shoulder stability, and she's like, there's no way I could do that. There's no way I could do that. And to see her face light up, not only did I do that, but that was freaking fun.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I need to hear, because I have had struggles recently with my patients. I feel like they're getting bored. They don't enjoy it. So if I actually applied more natural movement principles into my programming and getting them excited about moving, because I think
and
it's
doing stuff
something in your brain that brings you to life. Because you're right, doing bicep curls, it's so boring and like, oh gosh, and you get bigger biceps, but like you never look forward to doing them. I look forward to going out, and what I do on the weekends, go to a park and I just I play, I run around, I jump on things, I climb some trees, I might pick up a log and carry it, or I might do some crawling. I look forward to that. It's almost like it opens up some exploration in my mind that I need to experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a purpose to it. Just like one guy I worked with a long time ago, even before I was certified, he said there's benefits that come out of this that you wouldn't expect. Like he said, he used to never or rarely be able to throw any trash in the basket. He'd always miss. You know, you throw something and you miss. But then after we work, because we're working with stuff, he said he'd get it almost every time. So just that confidence and competence, like, yeah, I can like whoosh, throw this paper from 10 feet away and make it in a basket. Whoosh. Yes. I mean, you know, that's awesome. And it gives you pride. And it's like, this is fun as opposed to like a bicep curl. Woo. Whoa, this is so fun. I'm doing bicep curls. Yes. Let's all get together on Saturday and do bicep curls together.
I can't imagine going into a gym and doing back and buys like I did in 1997. You know, a
100%,
lap machine, a preacher curl, and then you doing some seated rows for 3 sets of 10. I have no interest in that at all.
Yeah. I like a lot of this.
I have a hard time doing that.
I like a lot of this competence stuff that involves a whole lot more. Just like one thing I've done in my apartment complex gym is get a 2x4 in there and put it underneath a bench for bench press. Then I balance on the 2x4, jump over it, land on the 2x4 on the other side, turn around, jump over the bench and land. Or like being at it's funny, like, I don't know what a lot of people must be thinking sometimes when I'm out at a park. I'm in a parking lot. I put a 2x4 on the ground, put 2 of them, and I got a pickup truck. And I get up on the side wall of the bed of the pickup truck and jump off and land on the 2x4. But anyways, it's great. I mean, the mastery and the competence involved, you know, I mean, that is fun. Jumping off and being good at it so you don't land on the side of the board and twist your ankle or something, as some people would. And the strength it takes to, like, control the fall and everything and make it quiet. It's just like, it makes you feel, like, more alive than, like, doing a 2x4. I mean, doing a, like, curl.
I would say when I discovered MovNat and started practicing that I started enjoying moving and exercising again. It wasn't a chore. It was something that I started, you call it the practice of natural moving. I started practicing it and enjoying it, and it just made my life better. Now I look forward to my sessions. I love going out and moving. It's like something that enlightens me, brings me up. It's a medicine. I never dread it. Maybe some barefoot running on rocks once in a while, but
I call that the Lego test, by the way.
Yeah. So what about you, Nick, really quickly?
Nick,
what do you think? Go ahead, Phil, what?
Yeah, Nick, I was just going to say, like, man, I really hope that we can empower you with the medical course, too, to get that even more, that same energy and excitement out of your patients, because I've seen it. Yeah. And, again, there's about 14, 15 different people on the medical advisory board that helped to create this course that felt the same way, that, you know, again, patients doing some external rotation, horizontal abduction, shoulder extension, which I know is good for posture. You know, again, they're definitely not getting that same enjoyment. They're definitely not coming in for a session with me and thinking like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to do that TheraBand, those pulls, you know, maybe I'll go from red to green today. That'd be cool, you know. But
speaking to me right now.
Yeah, but something as simple as going from a foot-hand position to an inverted crawl position and back, you know, utilizing that tripod on the ground, utilizing a tripod up onto a treatment table, maybe not all the way up onto it, but I mean, I just see it time and time again, that transition from what the hell is he having me do to like the next session or the session after. Can we do that other one that you showed me? Can you show me that one on the floor? What else can we do? You know, like it kicks in the same way that it does for you. And I get it. We're talking about, you know, jumping off the side of a pickup truck and landing on a 2x4, or being out in the woods, but also in the clinic. I've seen it with the fundamentals and
that's awesome.
Stuff that you know, exactly. Like it kicks in with the patients, and that the course is going to really hone in on how to do that, how to pick out the most important, the most beneficial
Cool.
exercises. And we're going to do it clinically. We're going to discuss it from a place of physiology and anatomy and combine that with the natural movement.
So I do have a story from my practice. I've had a couple of total knee replacement patients recently, a little further on the rehab, and they're definitely up ambulatory and a little stronger. And the pain subsided. But I've had at least the last 3 patients I've had get on a 2x4 and start just some forward and backward walking. It's like they looked at it, they grabbed onto it, they kept wanting to do it.
Sweet. It's fun.
They enjoyed it. Like I almost had to stop. Okay, we're done with that. Let's move to the next task. It's almost as if I opened up in something in their brain that they wanted to try. It's like this task they wanted to conquer. Instead of just doing, some long arc quads or just some, mini squats. They got them on 2x4, gave them a actual physical task to teach them and enable them to master it. They jumped onto it like, wow, because they realized they had a deficit. And they keep wanting to work at it to improve. So I guess I need more guidance on different things for different natural movement combos or different natural movement techniques for certain conditions that you guys have found successful.
This is exactly what the course is going to cover. And what I'm hoping to do is to combine it too, again, because I don't want to get away. I don't want anybody thinking that you come to me for treatment and this is all I do. No. I'm still using, all my other manual techniques. I'm still doing my mulligan mobilizations, but nothing beats. What a great combo to have a mobilization belt, mobilize their hip into flexion, internal rotation, and then have them get off the table and now do your side bend sit reverses. Again, golden combination here, manual therapy with natural movement. Like this is where I'm like, people, come on, everyone jump on board.
I really want to totally change my practice. I want to bring this to the mainstream.
Sweet.
I'm slowly in the process of doing it. I guess I need a little more guidance.
Don't we all?
To make sure I'm doing it correctly.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Always a work in progress. Yeah, always a work in progress.
Yeah. So, Phil, you said there was like 40-something people to help design the course. Are there like non-MovNat physical therapists that had a voice in this, or what? What'd you mean?
There were, I'm sorry, it was 14. 14
I guess
different practitioners.
You probably said that. I just remembered wrong, but yeah.
That's all right.
But they're all
at 40. I would take it. But they've all taken a MovNat certification course, so they've all had exposure to MovNat already.
Okay.
But they all come from different practices. So we have doctors of physical therapy, doctors of chiropractic. There's 2 osteopaths, and we're covering I don't know how many different continents: Europe, North America, South America. Contributions coming in from all over the place. Yeah, wow. It's pretty exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Nick, what do you think about the question? What do you think about the current state of Americans' health and fitness? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to take a more grim look at the situation. Well, first of all, I live in Appalachia, so I see a lot of debilitated, obese, sick individuals, especially when I did.
Isn't that where Deliverance was filmed? Or was that more in the South?
You got to go there, don't you, brother? Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while. It's crazy.
Yeah, okay. Back to reality. Sorry, what?
But on a serious note, it's just not only affects this area, but most of America.
Yeah,
I hear that
sadly.
Houston is the most obese city in the world, America, by the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's nothing that. I guess you can't put a blame on one specific thing. It's just a combination, a confluence of things that's happened in this country. Mm-hmm. Our poor food system, and the technology that has come about in the last 20, 30 years has made people, you can just say, lazier and not needing to move as much. So we have massive movement deficiencies across the board. And I think I read a report recently that 48% of Americans are now considered obese. I'm not talking like just overweight. I'm talking clinically obese, which is, a BMI of a certain number. I can't recall the number right now. So it's not looking good. And with the recent COVID pandemic, and the data is clear that it mainly affects the overweight population more so than the metabolically healthy population. So I would say the current state of the health and fitness of this country definitely needs to be better. And we need, us as practitioners in the medical world, or even MovNatters or any other trainers, needs to do a better job of educating people on the importance of moving. Recognizing that we do have movement deficiencies and people aren't getting out, aren't doing what they need to do to keep their bodies in shape. And you have to do it from a compassionate standpoint, not a finger pointing standpoint. And, when I'm out in the park doing my thing, doing my movement practice, or I'm out jogging, or I don't see anybody out there. I see nobody. I'm always by myself. Like, where are people? Why is it sunny out? Why am I running or going for this jog or out here?
It's too bad.
Why don't I see other people outdoors enjoying themselves? Like, it blows my mind. And then you look at what's happening in our society. It's cell phones, it's internet, it's tablets, it's
indoors,
Netflix, Prime Video. Just everything is at our fingertips, and people are getting their dopamine hits inside their house, watching the Netflix shows on the phone, looking at YouTube videos. They don't understand, or they're so removed from their natural environment that they don't understand that the benefits of getting outside and getting those dopamine hits from moving outside and things like that. So big tech and all these other things have hijacked the health of our country. At least, most everybody. I'm not saying everybody. So I think this needs a better broadband education across each state, at least in this country, these are the things that are going on. This is what we need to do to remedy it. Now, I know there's certain cities in America that have a very active population, but they're isolated. Most of the quote unquote flyover states, people are not healthy anymore. And, they're taking. I can't tell you how many people I saw in my practice when I worked in a nursing home or a home health situation where I went and visited very disabled, typically older people that have 25 medical conditions, taking 20 medications a day.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was like no big deal. And they see, you go in their house and you just see the crap food they're eating. They can barely get off the bed. They can't roll over. They can't bend over, touch their toes. They don't even have enough mobility and strength to get off the toilet without help. And this is a culmination of just a poor movement deficient life over years. Mm-hmm. So, one of my goals is to kind of reinvigorate the population. Say, look, movement is medicine. It will change your life. You won't have to do this anymore. You'll be much happier. Being physically capable will make you more happy, make your life more enjoyable. Because you won't struggle and you won't have to worry about this, and this. So, I wish. I don't know what Phil thinks about this, but I mean that's from my observation.
Nick, man, that hits my heart so much because I think about what, like you're saying about technology, and Katie Bowman talks about outsourcing movements. If we choose not to,
exactly.
If we have a backup camera on our car, it's a nice thing. It's a little luxury, but now we don't have to turn our head and look back over our shoulder. So, again, it's a little thing. But if you think about all that stuff that you talked about, cell phones, you don't have to even go to the computer to look stuff up anymore. You don't have to get up off the couch. All these little things add up, and it's a societal and ecological movement or lack of movement, that's the movement that's happening. Yeah. It's the I can't help but go back to that Wall-E movie where people just keep moving less and less and think, this is another luxury. This is another luxury. And it's a little step, but why shouldn't I have that? I deserve that. And they think that comfort will make them happy, like a king, the kings have that or the rich people have that. So why shouldn't I have that? Then they get it. But like you said, Nick, I mean, you hit it on the head, like getting out in the park, moving around and doing something. I can't tell you, like, I can have 10 good things happen to me during the week, but nothing beats being at the playground with my kids, hands down. Almost, I can't say 100% of the time. Sometimes they annoy the heck out of me, just being honest out there. But for the most time, I love being there with them. I love seeing them play. I love trying out something with them. And you're experiencing that. And I think that society just has it backwards. I want luxuries instead of, I want playful happiness and joy, simplicity. But that's just my perspective. I can't say that's, everyone feels that same way.
So also when I do notice people outside enjoying nature, enjoying being active, they're typically just walking, which is a great movement. I walk a lot. It's great, but walking, you need a little more than that. You need to be able to get off the ground, bend over, carry things.
Yeah.
All what we preach in MovNat. So that just goes to the movement deficiency piece that we discussed. Back in the day when we didn't have all these luxuries, people had to get out there and get on their hands and knees and clean and go outside and carry buckets and do this or that to take care of their living situation. So they were getting all the natural movements, a lot of them. But now, people, at least in the elderly population, get outside, they're just walking on a level surface. So it just goes back to that movement deficiency piece.
And the programming.
Well,
as Phil said earlier, like, what is your goal? You got to take some stuff seriously. Just like, think about it as programming, and is this making you the way you really want to be? Do you want to really not? Do you want to sit in one place and not move your head or anything all the time? That, as Katie says, that's training. You're training yourself for the sitting Olympics. Is that what you really want to do? Do you want to be? But if you think of you're training yourself, people go out and instead of bending down to pick up trash, they got one of those little hand things that's like 3 feet long, and they picks up something and they put it in a bag. So do you really want to make your back stiff? That's what you're doing. You're not merely using something to pick up trash. You are doing that. Nice. Technology is awesome, but you're not using your back. You're training yourself to not bend your knees, not hip hinge, not be mobile. In other words, you're training yourself to be immobile. Is that what you really want? Do you really want to make yourself be immobile and weak by sitting, using this trash pickup thing, not even turning your head to look over to see how you're backing up or anything like that? Do you really want to not move your eyes? Or with programming, as you said earlier, Phil, you got to think about your program. Is your goal to be a static, dead statue that can't move and that looks good? Or do you want to be a fluent, dynamic, powerful mover like Bruce Lee? Do you want to be dead and not be able to do much?
Nice.
Or do you want to be lithe and powerful and agile and a beautiful mover like Bruce Lee? And so you got to really take seriously, as you said earlier, Phil, what your programming is going to accomplish. What is your goal? Does your programming really accomplish this? If you go and you're doing a bunch of curls and so on and so forth, you're making yourself stronger. Okay, but is that really taking you to where you want to be? And you better take it seriously because it's taking you somewhere whether you like it or not. Do you want to get on that train? Because you can't get off for a while, So you got to take that seriously. And then one thing is quick too is like, besides, like you said earlier, Phil, you need to run, you need to lift weights, they make you stronger. But as Gray Cook and Lee Burton always say of FMS, first move well, then move often. Do that stuff, but make sure you're doing it right. Otherwise, you're destroying yourself. Even if you're trying to be like Bruce Lee instead of a static statue, you're strengthening dysfunction when you do that. Please do not do that. I beg of you people, please do not do that. That hurts my heart when I see that.
I think it's also important that us in this field get the message out to just the layperson that, look, you need to move your body. It's medicine. You do not want to find yourself a situation when you're 65 or older and you can't get off the couch, or you have to use a walker to get to your kitchen, or God forbid you're so unstable and weak that you could fall down and suffer a subdural hematoma or a broken hip. If you did these things properly, you won't have to worry about that later. You know, a lot of things I use in my patients to get them to stay compliant with the things I teach them. I said, do you take time to take your medication every morning? Like, yeah. I said, well, won't you take time to do a little 5-minute movement session? Do your exercise.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, yeah. Because I keep saying, I'm a physical therapist. I believe, and the research shows that movement is medicine. It takes care of your body. In fact, I would go on to say that it's a lot healthier than taking some of that pharmaceutical stuff they're putting in their bodies.
Have you read the book Spark? Nick?
No, I need to write that one. No. Can you send me a link?
He talks a lot about that. Yeah, I'll put that. Yeah. There's the book. There's the author. It's on Audible, or you can read it, but highly recommend it. And he talks about some of that stuff. How a certain amount of exercise is proven to be like better than a certain amount of like medication that's used for similar things. But
so, guys, think about.
Sorry, go ahead.
It just popped in my head. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
no, I was like throwing that in.
Not that I watch that much television anymore, but usually every third commercial is a pharmaceutical ad. What if there's an ad for a certain movement? Do this, and you're going to prevent your hip osteoarthritis. Do this, do this, and you won't get frozen shoulder. Do this, and your back won't hurt. Just imagine that. Imagine a world where that was the messaging instead of sitting down and popping your pills or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's the sad component of our life, is that's the one hurdle that I've not yet. Well, I think I have figured it out, but it's the biggest hurdle still. It is almost impossible because marketing has really done a good job of tapping into neurocognitive behaviors. I mean, really, what color, what words to say, every single thing that's going to spark something in your brain. It is so hard to overcome that. I mean, that is so hard. Yeah. Marketing. And my wife often asks me that. She goes, I can't believe it. How do they offer that? And I say, because people buy it. That's why, you know? And
I mean, I'll be honest.
It's a cycle.
Yeah. I see some of these pharmaceutical ads, and I think, man, I want to take that pill. That is incredible.
Yeah. They've got it down, man.
Yeah, they do. They really do. But think if we could shift the paradigm to making movement or just exercise, fitness, outdoors, the stuff that we preach, that appetizing for people.
So so Nick, 100%, and this is going to go back to the course of what we're doing, what we're teaching our patients. The one thing that I ask my patients, and they can connect to this, I say to them, you and I both know that as we get older, we accept checking things off our list that we can no longer do. Oh, I can't get down on the floor on one knee. Oh, I can't, get out of a chair without doing this. Oh, I can't lay down on a hard surface. And we agree to these things, and we keep checking them off year after year after year after year. And I asked the patients, I said, would you like to stop that and add a couple things on? And you know the answer, what they say. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I'm a dreamer. I'm with you. And someday we're going to have a commercial, Nick. We'll put the commercial together. And we'll be running with a kite. We'll have a kite and a dog. And we'll be in the park. But until then, we're going to do it on the ground level and connect with people's emotions that way. Use our powers for good.
That reminds me of a commercial I'll send y'all later, a link to. Maybe you've seen it before. It's from like 5 or 10 years ago, but it's hilarious. It's true, but funny. But I'll send that to y'all later. But Yeah. But yeah, I think, as you said, Nick, it's with the current state of health and fitness, as with many things in biology, as opposed to, say, if you're doing some chemistry or physics or something like that, with biology, many things are not one factor, but they're multifactorial. What we have is a multifactorial problem that needs a multifactorial solution. Takes a holistic approach to human health and well-being and human nature to get the thing right. Environment, exercise, sleep, health, social activity, because we're, damn complicated dynamic feedback systems. So,
Yeah. Hey, I hate to wrap this up, guys.
I was going to say, yeah,
I need to probably
get the
wrap it up
kids.
here in a minute or two. Yeah, it's night time in my household.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, hopefully we can pick this up and talk more about this in the future.
It's a message that needs to get out, and we have to do it tactfully. We have to do it with compassion, and just show people that are suffering that there is another way. Because I work with people who are just in pain and immobility, and all they do is complain about how bad they feel, and it just strikes a nerve in me. Like, it doesn't have to be like this.
Amen.
It doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah.
And it's just something I'm passionate about. I don't know. I guess I like to help people. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Any last words, Phil, or any last words, Nick?
Yeah, I'll just say, I think, Nick, what you just said is exactly where we all stand. And, we definitely want it to be on a large scale. And I dream that someday it will be, and that we'll make some turns, and that we are, again, if people are, somebody is going to be listening to this podcast, and that person gives me hope. That they're listening to this podcast and they're thinking about this, that gives me hope. And every one person that we tell them that story of your success, Nick, or my success, or my success with a patient, or your success with a patient, I believe, I'm a hopeless optimist that will spark someone saying, someone feeling hopeless, and then you tell them one of the stories about someone else. Yeah, man, you remind me of John the other day who I was working with, and he walked down the street and he came home, and that person goes, really, I could do that? So again, I dream of it being on a big scale, but for right now, brother, it's you and me. It's up to us.
The fate of the world lies in our hands.
Amen.
But yeah, as you say, comfort's good and we need it, but it should be measured and we should control it. Otherwise, comfort's a Trojan horse.
Yeah. Totally agree.
And then
but hope is what we can give them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them see there's possibility. Yeah. And hopefully they'll learn, to paraphrase Hippocrates, I think it was, we could say, let movement be your medicine and let your medicine be your movement. Because normally he says...
Oh, I love it, man. I got to give you that's great.
You inspired me to think of that while you were talking, yeah. But yeah, so in case folks don't know, usually the actual quote is something kind of like, let food be your medicine and let medicine be thy food. But yeah, so I just put it movement instead of food. But yeah, or like William Osler, a physician, I think, he said, the good physician treats the disease. The great physician treats the patient who has the disease. That's what we need to do.
Wow.
Nice.
Deep.
Yeah, amen. Be holistic.
But all right, gentlemen, I'm gonna hang up here.
Awesome.
But,
so,
Mike, good to talk to you again. And Phil,
awesome.
I can't wait to meet you, brother.
Amen. Yeah,
absolutely. Looking forward to it, Nick.
All right. So, thank y'all for joining. Y'all have a good evening. Hope everybody enjoys, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
Peace.
Take care, Mike.
You too.
Bye, Phil. See you.
Bye.
All right.
All right, folks, hope you enjoyed that. So again, remember, as we said, movement, exercise, fitness are important, but remember that they play out into the whole of our human nature and our life and our surviving and thriving and working with other people. Get some fitness for the normal, conventional benefits, but it will help you think better, have better attitude, live better, be able to do stuff and play with pets and your relatives and kids. Help you able to help other people in emergencies, age stronger and more gracefully, and it'll help in cognition, memory, emotion, attitude, help you do better on tests, better at work, be more creative. There's that feedback that goes on within us since we're complex, dynamic, biological feedback systems. But thank our guests for joining us today. It was awesome. And thank you all for listening. Hope you get out more. Don't get caught up inside too much in this COVID madness going on in 22. Get out, get sunshine, get exercise, get social activity, and be a good, rational human animal. Thanks.